Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari will be no more as of next year. And now we have a double whammy of breaking news. Daniel Ricciardo officially will be joining McLaren next season, and Carlos Sainz will be the one to replace Vettel at Ferrari.
It's a very nice day. Obviously, Formula One is still in my heart, and yeah, happy also coming with Renault, which we achieved so many things together.
What's your favourite car from a James Bond movie?
The one that got the sword in half. Do you know which one it is?
Indeed, that it will be Sebastian Vettel that will suit up for Aston Martin come 2021.
Mick Schumacher crosses the line to win the Formula 2 Championship of 2020.
Who will be a Formula One driver in 2021 and beyond.
Notice how I left out a certain individual. Yeah. Hashtag we say no to Mazepin. F1 2020 has been one of the best seasons in recent history. From redemption stories to history making, we have pretty much seen it all. And yet, I find myself feeling even more excited for the upcoming season in 2021. There will be 8 drivers suiting up in new overalls next year, which would leave us to believe that we were living in the Codemaster simulation and not reality. Oh, wait. EA just bought out Codemasters for $1.2 billion. And while we're on the topic of career ending, Red Bull, Marco and hold on, just successfully ruined another young and talented driver in Alex Albon. I'm sure by now we are all very familiar with the Red Bull second driver situation, so I will spare the Alex fans out there any more pain and misery. I just wish the guy the best of luck for the future, because he's still a very young and talented driver who deserves a second opportunity. Nevertheless, we have one of the most promising seasons awaiting to start on the 21st of March. Now, even though Mercedes will most likely dominate, the midfield battle has never had this much star power or talent ever. So to prepare you guys for what is to come, I wanted to provide a short video on why you should be excited for 2021. Now, before we get into it, I just wanted to say thank you for all the recent support, guys. As of recording, we just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is just crazy. And as a little special video, you guys can get to know more about me in a Q&A that I'll be releasing on Tuesday. So make sure to keep your eyes open for that. But yeah, I'm so grateful for every single one of you, and I hope I can continue to deliver better quality videos in the future. But now we've got all that out of the way, let's get into it. Going into next year, the cars will more or less have the same technical design, with just a few changes to the floor, diffuser, and rear brake ducts winglets being permitted. Therefore, with this in mind, there will be some potential for teams to make marginal gains on their competitors, but don't expect the big shakeup that is likely coming in 2022. Nonetheless, we will still be treated to arguably the greatest midfield battle of all time. So for all you Formula 1.5 fans out there, this season is going to be one to remember. As for the teams that I think have a shot at being best of the rest next year, McLaren, Alpine, Aston Martin and Ferrari are all in with a chance to finish P3 in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren are coming off the back of a solid year all round, consistently scoring top 5 finishes throughout the season, including 2 podiums. They will also be reverting to Mercedes engines, which will hopefully provide them with a bit more power output compared to the Renault. However, this switch does come with a sacrifice. You see, engines from 2 different manufacturers come in different shapes and sizes, so it will not be as simple as replacing the Renault engines with a Mercedes. As a result, modifications to the chassis will be required for McLaren to build their car around the new Mercedes engine, and they will have to spend their development tokens to do this rather than make aerodynamic gains. While this may be a bit of a thorn in the side for McLaren, they will still have a young and rapidly improving hotshot in Lando Norris and an experienced race winner in Daniel Ricciardo. And given the two have personalities that complement each other very well, we could see the successes of 2019 and 2020 replicated or even bettered with the Aussie in the car. And that is in no way diminishing Carlos Sainz, who, may I say, did a mega job for McLaren in the last 4 races with a P6, 2 P5s and a P4. However, we know what Daniel Ricciardo can do in a good car that's not the second Red Bull. Look at his 2020 performance, for example, and how he led the team to their first podium since 2011. He and Lando will be a force to be reckoned with in 2021 and right in the thick of the midfield battle. Now I want to talk about the rookies, namely Mick Schumacher, Yuki Tsunoda and Fernando Alonso. What? But for now, we'll start off with Yuki, the first Japanese Formula 1 driver since Kamui Kobayashi and the first driver ever to be born in the 2000s. Tsunoda has been backed by Honda since 2016, becoming a member of the Honda Formula Dream project before making his single-seater debut in the Japanese Formula 4 Championship. He finished second in the first of 2 races he completed that year before winning the championship in 2018. He would turn more heads with his performance in Formula 3 and the Euro Formula Open Championship in 2019. In those campaigns, he displayed incredible consistency and innate racecraft that earned him a seat with Carlin in Formula 2. Continuing his rapid ascent in his rookie season, he finished third in the championship and just 1 point behind runner-up Callum Ilott. The guy is fearlessly fast and is carrying a level of confidence that will help him strive for those points finishes in the midfield. The Gazman will have his work cut out, but he is also riding a huge wave from last season. The redemption arc of Pierre Gasly in 2020 was the highlight of the season for many fans, given the manner in which Red Bull treated him. For a majority of the season, Gasly was AlphaTauri's lead driver and delivered many brilliant drives such as in Spa, in Portimao, and of course, in Monza. Going into 2021, Tsunoda will realistically be aiming to get settled in the first half of the season and then matching Gasly in the second half of the season. That duo, in my opinion, will be a key one to watch come next year. For Haas, I am not going to entertain this one driver in particular. Quite frankly, his off-track actions are utterly disgusting, and I don't care how much his dad is bringing, Formula 1 should not permit such behaviour in the sports. So all I hope for is that Haas or the FIA distribute the necessary punishments and we do not see him in the paddock at all. As for the Formula 2 champion Mick Schumacher, he will be entering his debut season in Formula 1 and continuing the legacy of his father Michael. And to those who still think he's only made it this far because of his name, that point of view is just factually false at this point. While yes, having the same name as one of the all-time greats does help, Mick had the most podiums of any other driver with 10 compared to the next best driver, who was Yuki Tsunoda with 7. Callum Ilott, Robert Schwartzman, Guan Yu Zhou and Christian Lundgaard all finished on 6. Remarkably, he also didn't finish in the points on just 3 occasions. His consistency is what won him the Formula 2 Championship in 2020. In one of the most talented and competitive lineups in F2 this year, Mick was the class of the field. So what can we expect with Haas? Well, not much, given their poor form this season. But it could come as a blessing in disguise for Schumacher, as he is known generally for being a slow burner, and normally starts coming into his own in his second season. Therefore, he can focus almost solely on improving his craft and gaining experience in the sport. The senior team Ferrari, on the other hand, will have their work cut out to deliver on the promise that Mattia Binotto put out, which is to finish third in the Constructors' Championship. And in such a tight and closely fought midfield, this will be a tough feat to accomplish. Charles Leclerc was a miracle worker at times last season and put his Ferrari higher up on the grid than it should have been. Carlos will be entering a drastically new environment next year, one that he must be prepared for and able to withstand should things turn out for him like they did Seb Vettel. Although Carlos is a more adaptable driver and doesn't require a car with a stable rear to drive fast, so I doubt he will struggle in the same way. The real question comes as to how Ferrari will treat him and whether he will get up to speed in good time. Leclerc already knows the car very well and is rapidly improving his racecraft, especially in tyre management. He is also one of, if not the best driver over a single lap right now, and that raw qualifying pace is something Carlos may struggle with, given how he struggled to beat a rookie Lando Norris on a Saturday in 2019. Now, maybe Lando is just that good, and Carlos may be closer to Leclerc than I may expect. Ferrari have also publicly mentioned that they are not completely writing off 2021, as they are designing a completely new engine which is apparently delivering very promising dyno figures. If this is true, and you have a hungry Monegasque and an eager Spaniard behind the wheel, Ferrari may deliver on that P3 in the constructors, even though it may be a lot closer than they would ideally want. Bruh. I literally couldn't get through this audio without Binotto dropping another clue in the Ferrari master plan. In an interview with RTL, Binotto told the media the Ferrari Driver Academy was not created to race Formula 1 drivers, but the next driver for Ferrari. Today is too early to decide, but there are premises to see Mick in red in 2023. Wait a minute. My man Carlos hasn't even driven a single lap in the SF21 yet, and the team principal is already talking about the prospect of Mick Schumacher joining the Scuderia.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, you crazy.
I am.
Now, I understand that he was asked a question and he just answered it honestly. But a smart team principal wouldn't reveal that sort of information if that is what they're planning. Take Toto for example and put him in the same shoes. He probably would have said something along the lines of, "We are wholly committed to focusing on our current two drivers and achieving this, that or the other." But no, this is Mattia Binotto, the man who turned his back on our boy Seb way back at the start of 2020. So should we be surprised?
Hell no!
Fernando Alonso will be making a much anticipated return to the sport with a newly branded team that has been on the rise ever since the Belgian Grand Prix. In the young driver test, Alonso pretty much matched Ricciardo and Ocon's lap times, showing that he still has the speed to perform very well. Whether he will perform at his very best is questionable, but if he does come back a lesser version of himself, I doubt the drop-off will be that much. The stakes will also be high for a certain Frenchman named Esteban Ocon, who finished last season on a high with the first podium of his career at the Sakir Grand Prix. He was also getting progressively closer to Daniel Ricciardo in qualifying last year, even out-qualifying his teammate at the final round in Abu Dhabi. If he can get on top of the car early on and outperform Alonso in the opening few races, it will be a huge boost not only for his confidence, but also his status as a driver. Alternatively, Alonso could come back and completely school him, which would validate the critics who state he's not all that talented. With Cyril also as team principal, I reckon we could potentially see a bit of controversy within the team, which would further add to the action. I mean, just look at this trio.
Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
Racing points were unfortunately hit hardest by the virus last year, with Checo missing 2 Silverstone races and Stroll missing the Eiffel Grand Prix. And while Nico Hülkenberg did a phenomenal job as a super sub for the team, Checo and Lance didn't come back 100% healthy. The Canadian also suffered a dismal run of form from Mugello to Portimao, and Checo missed out on 2 potential P3 finishes. They quite comfortably had the best car in the midfield, making the Constructors' Championship closer than it should have been. There is no doubt in my mind that Seb will regain his confidence and come back strong in 2021. Next season will also be a testing one for Lance Stroll in proving himself as a driver who deserves a seat in F1 on merit. He will be going up against absolute monsters in the midfield, who will be absolutely ruthless with him in wheel-to-wheel combat. It will be his job to fight back and earn more respect from the other drivers and the fans. The last driver lineup that will look different is Red Bull. As we know, it was recently announced that Sergio Perez will partner Max Verstappen in 2021, after an exceptional display of heart, willpower, loyalty, grit, and persistency to maintain a drive in Formula 1. Given he is currently in the prime of his career, there is a possibility that he comes in and outperforms the Dutchman, especially because Red Bull will be aiming to win the Constructors' Championship. But heading into the first race of the season, it will still be Max's team, and Red Bull's energies will not deviate from Max anytime soon. Red Bull may not come out of the blocks as quickly as Mercedes, but through progressive upgrades during the season, they could very well end up right where they left off in Abu Dhabi. The relationship between this pair could also very well swing from time to time, as they both have an alpha's mentality. This back and forth may work against them instead of helping them seize opportunities away from Mercedes. However, if they are able to work together and Sergio plays the role of secure number 2, which I highly doubt, they will have multiple strategy options open during the races. As for Williams and Alfa Romeo, I don't really have too much to say other than George Russell will continue dragging that car into Q2 because he can. And the world champions will likely go on to win 8 in a row, with Lewis Hamilton becoming statistically the clear-cut, undisputed, unsurpassed GOAT of Formula 1. So those are my thoughts on what I think everyone should look out for in 2021. Let me know what you think the biggest storylines will be throughout next season and how you think they will play out in the comment section below. Be sure to also look out for the 10K Q&A coming out very soon. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're new to enjoy my latest videos in the future. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.